Good day, everybody. Welcome back to another episode live from Jerusalem with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg. Always a joy to be with him in this Genesis class. We're joined in the Zoom room by many people from all around the world. As far as India, I see we got people in South Africa, South America. We got people from all over Europe, in the UK. It's always beautiful to be with them, along with Rabbi Goldberg, and his parents are always with us, so it's always a joy to be with them as well. Let's just jump right in and start our Genesis class with Rabbi Goldberg. I so appreciate you, Rabbi. Thank you so much. You're live on the air, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening to all of the people from all over the world. We have here people from India to the United States, to the other side of Canada. I think that in Canada, Dan, in your place, and also Angelica, right? It's,
and we've even got our friend on the East Coast as well. We got
we have
Timothy, our friend Timothy in Nova Scotia.
So this is, your place is already. You're always chasing us. We already finished the Sunday day. You only just started. It's always a joy to understand what's happening here in this world, with the time zone. So hi everybody, good evening everybody from Jerusalem. Here in Jerusalem, we are managing to cope with the coronavirus, and I wish and I bless all of the other countries also to have the same. I will say the same way that we are managing, that everybody all over the world will manage. I know it's a big week for the American people, because this week you're going to choose your president. And the truth is that this time I'm not jealous. I think that it's a very, very hard decision this time. Each side have a lot of advantages and a lot of disadvantages. I will say, I will be politically correct. So it's a very, very hard situation this time to vote. Thank God I'm in Israel. I need to have my own
Rabbi,
problems.
can we get you to pull your microphone a little closer, sir? Just a little bit, just so the audience can hear you better.
Okay.
The Torah is so valuable to us.
It's okay now to hear me now? Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's a little better, sure.
Okay, so I'm saying that this week it's a bit of a very important week for the American people here, who needs to vote and to decide between two interesting people. And I'm really thanking God every day that I don't need to do this choice. And I hope that God will bring the world to the best place, even though it's not so easy. Let's jump inside and let's start to learn Genesis. This is what we're doing in those classes. We're starting with a very profound learning, and from there on we have the time also to discuss other things and other questions. So hi everybody, and especially a very big greeting and a very big hi to my parents in the other room there, that we see them. Okay, I'm sharing the screen and we are starting to learn things that we organized for tonight. Last week, what we saw last week is I think this is no, I'm sorry. I prepared everything, just need to find it. I think this is it. Yeah, excellent. Okay, last week we saw the generation of Enoch, what we call Enosh, and how people started to forget God. And this was more or less was a break of a thing. Now let me ask all of you a very simple question, and you can all answer me, okay? It's okay that you will answer me. If we will have a time, God forbid, that the world, in the Second World War, there was a very big moral clash, moral disappointed, because suddenly men acknowledged that he had a possibility to reorganize a machine of killing people. It was with the Germans who organized all the gas chambers from one side, and also the Americans who organized the atomic bomb. And suddenly we acknowledged that we have the opportunity to wipe off all the people from this world. So a lot of time I'm asking the people that I'm giving them seminars, and I'm doing a lot of seminars in Israel and also overseas. I'm starting the seminar with a question. If, God forbidden, there was a big war in this world, and you are the only group that have been left from the old world, what are you going to take with yourself to the next world, and what are you going to leave in behind? It's a very hard question. Again, there are things that we want to take with us, but there are things that we would prefer to leave behind. And the question is, what are the things that we're going to take with us to the new world? And what are the things that we're going to leave behind, not use them at all? Someone wants to answer? I will close the share screen.
Right. Yeah. Rabbi?
Yes.
If I could, I would take as much of a library as I could.
Again?
I would take as much of a library as I could, books, to expand not only my knowledge, but the knowledge of the people with me, and to teach other people the knowledge later.
Wow. Very good point.
Okay. When you're saying library, you're speaking about what kind of books that you're going to take?
It would have to
For example, just a moment, let me explain a bit more what I'm asking. For example, you can take all the books of James Bond, for example.
No, it would have
I don't know why it popped in my head. Yes.
It would have to be education.
Okay, education.
Because
So you will take the. Okay, so you're saying that you're going to take the British Encyclopedia, for example.
For example, that it would also include religion. It would include some technology, medical,
knowledge base,
things like that, because you have to have a basis where people can think and believe in something, but also the knowledge to be able to progress.
Very
okay,
good.
Fine. Thank you very, very much. Okay. Who else wants to answer? Yes. James, we can't hear you.
Oh, you're muted, James. You're not showing as muted, so it's on your end at your computer. Uh-oh.
No,
type it in the chat. Type it in the chat box there, James, and we'll share it. Anybody else?
Yes, Lara.
I have to assume that time that we're in a war and pretty much chaotic and everything is gone. There's nothing, no belongings, no material, anything. I would take the 7 laws of Noah.
Post-apocalyptic. Yeah, let's face it. The utter devastation. Yeah.
Okay, fine. James, we can hear you now. Yes.
No.
Yes.
He's having technical difficulties, Rabbi. You've got to have your mute sign on. I don't see you have you don't have your microphone hooked up. You had it for a second, and then it's got to be turned on. Be the bottom left of your screen. You're showing no microphone. Bottom left of your Zoom room chat box, you'll have a microphone symbol. First of all, it has to be active, and then it has to be unmuted. Anyone else while James is figuring that out?
I said the same as Lara did, except we are our brother's keeper. So even in war, they helped each other. So when war ends and you're by yourself, you have to start somewhere. If I had the knowledge of God, if I had the 7 Noahide laws, that is a definite where to start. It is a definite where to start.
Okay, Thank you very much.
Rabbi,
Yes, Linda, yes.
I'm extrapolating on this. I think if it was me, I would be going more abstract as well. I would be saying, leave behind hate, leave behind racism, take love for your brothers and your sisters with you.
Very good.
Can I throw in a verdict, Rabbi Goldberg?
Yes. So, first of all, thank you very much, Linda. You're all saying very, very nice things, very important things. Yes. Scotty, yes.
I hope this isn't out in left field for me personally, and I understand all of the answers. But if I knew the apocalypse was coming, I would gather as much as my family as I could and take family. I know you would. Am I making sense? You know, I would, my children, my grandchildren, and I would take whatever was needed there, that position.
Thank you very much. Also, very interesting answer. Now, the truth is that I want to continue on, okay? So we can also put on the chat things or to refer to this later on.
Can I just add one more thing? Food and water is so important. You've got to have that to live.
Again.
Food and water is so important. You have to have that to live. Otherwise, you don't live.
Okay, fine, excellent. The truth is that the answer that I'm giving, okay, on the seminars that we are doing is a bit more complicated, and it's at least 3 full days of learning. And we're speaking also about the skills and the abilities that each person have. So I won't go inside to my answer, but the note I want to ask all of us is that Noah himself, who was in the ark, as we all know, he took with him a lot of animals, but he also, think good about this, he also took with himself the idolatry. Now, I'm sure that Noah himself he didn't took with himself the idolatry, because he knew God and he spoke with him. But somehow in the ark, the idolatry continued on, because when they're going out from the ark, we still with idolatry. And I was sure that Noah will leave this in behind. So something there with this idolatry is still in the environment. They need it. It's still important there, or there still was a mission to idolatry, so the world won't lose it at all. And this is what we see here when I'm sharing the screen. Okay, this is it. I think so. Oh, again, it's not the right one. I'm sorry. Here it is. Now I'm sharing the screen. Okay, and we see a very interesting. I'm starting with chapter number 6. This is the pre-flood. Okay, the verses before the flood and why the flood is coming. So please, Dan, read the first verse. Dan, are you with us?
And it came to pass, when man commenced to multiply upon the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them.
Now, in the Hebrew, it's a bit more precisely. We always say that the Hebrew language is very precise. And I want to remind us all, what was the blessing that God gave to Adam and Eve? Okay, so let's jump for a moment to chapter number 1 and see exactly the blessing that God gave to Adam and Eve. And then we will come back to this verse and we will see what's happening here. Please read verse number 28.
28. And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth, and subdue it, and rule over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the sky, and over all the beasts that tread upon the earth.
So there is a very interesting blessing here that we are supposed to seek inside the earth and to find all the metals and to roll everything here in this world. But there is also another thing that is written down here: be fruitful and multiply. Those are two different things. What we call in Hebrew, peru urvu. Now, what is multiply? Multiply is more of the same, but more and more of the same, and more and more and more of the same. Fruitful is something a bit else, is giving the main thing that you can, from there on, I will say it's more quality and quantity, okay? The fruitful is already the quality of things. Multiply is only quantity. Multiply is more and more and more and more. Fruitful is the quality. And this is what we've learned 2 lessons ago when we set down the names and the generations, and we saw that in each generation we have something very unique for the generation, and we have also a lot of boys and girls. So let's jump back to the beginning of chapter 6. Just a moment, we'll find it. Here it is. Here we say something very interesting. Something here men did, and something is lacking. What do we have in verse number 1, and what we don't have? What are we missing in verse number 1?
Fruitful.
We have the multiply, we don't have the fruitful. If I will say it in other words, we finished, okay? This, the environment of this world that we have now is a world without any purpose, just to multiply, 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 and that's it. The side of the fruitful, finished. The side of the fruitful is missing. And more than that, they are bringing only daughters. What is a daughter? What is the meaning of the word a girl? A girl is someone that can bring more and more and more and more. But they are lacking the fruitful side. They are lacking the ambitions for something with much higher level of aiming to bring the world to a better place, aiming to bring the world to the next level. They are just working on the side of the multiply. And more than that, let's continue on. Please read verse number 2.
Verse 2, that the sons of the nobles saw the daughters of man when they were beautifying themselves, and they took for themselves wives from whomever they chose.
Now, this is the word the nobles, sons of the nobles.
Nephilim.
It's not, we don't really understand that, okay? It was before the flood. We don't really remember that. We don't exactly understand that. But we can say that we have 2 main destinies. Dynasties, I think this is how you say it. 2 main dynasties. The dynasty of Cain and the dynasty of Seth. The dynasty of Cain, we saw that already. We've learned that is a dynasty that is trying to build the culture, but it's lacking the side of the spirit of God inside it. On the other side, the dynasty of Seth is with the nobles, the sons of nobles. It sounds of the gods, okay? Because we said already that in Seth, the first man, Adam, we remember that in chapter 5, okay? We saw already that Adam, here it is, that God, this is chapter number 5. We saw that God created man in the likeness of God. He created him. And then we saw that Adam lived and he begot in his likeness, the likeness of God, Seth. So Seth, in some sort of a way, we can call him the sons of Seth are the sons of the nobles. This is the dynasty of Seth. And who are the daughters of men? The dynasty of men. This is Cain. So they started to get connected one with each other, those two dynasties. And this was lacking the insight or the connection with God. It was only the multiply. And the main conclusion that we have from that is verse number 3. Please read verse number 3.
Verse 3, and the Lord said, let my spirit not quarrel forever concerning man, because he is also flesh, and his days shall be 120 years.
Also read verse number 4. And 5.
For the Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of the nobles would come to the daughters of men, and they would bear for them. They were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown.
And so we see that we're speaking about two dynasties, the dynasty of Cain, the dynasty of Seth. One is a dynasty of with the image of God, with the spiritual side, and one is a dynasty that is doing everything in this ground. And this togetherness of those two dynasties is not bringing the world to a better place. And more than that, please read verse number 5 also, 5 and 6.
5, and the Lord saw that the evil of man was great in the earth, and every imagination of his heart was only evil all the time. And the Lord regretted that he had made man upon the earth, and he became grieved in his heart.
And this is a very hard conclusion, I will say. Very, very hard conclusion. Think about this. That God is regretting doing man in this world. And he's saying to himself, that's it, enough. Enough is enough. I don't need this anymore. Everything here is bad. Now, it's not that I'm saying it. It's not that a reporter came from the New York Times and decided to describe something and he's exaggerating and saying all sorts of words. This is God saying. God knows exactly what's happening inside men. And God is saying that the evil of man was great in the earth, and every imagination of his heart was only evil in the time. It's amazing to think about this. Again, it's not some sort of a journalist who's trying to exaggerate that he will say, wow, it's really bad. No, it is bad. Everything is bad here. Everything is evil all the time. We came to a situation, a very hard situation. Very bad one, very sad one, very sad situation, where God is saying that the only way to repair everything here is by wiping off all men from this earth. And read verse number 7. Only
Verse number 7, and the Lord said, I will blot out man whom I created from upon the face of the earth, from man to cattle, to creeping thing, to the fowl of the heavens, for I regret that I made them.
Those are very, very hard verses to read. Everything is evil. God came to a conclusion that that's it. I can't do here anything except for one small seed that I have here, and this is what we're reading in verse number 8. But Noach found favor in the eyes of God, and only Noach will continue on. Now, I want to read here very important Rashi, but before we're going to read it, I want to ask another thing, and I want us to compare for a moment. I want to compare two interesting people. I want to compare Adam and Noach. If it's okay, Dan, please put a blank sheet on the instead of me and instead of those things. And I want to ask all of us, I'm closing the share for a moment. We all know this story. And I want to ask all of us, how many, can you put down, please, something? Oh, exactly, yes. Now put it, excellent. Now let's put on, from one side, let's put Adam and Eve. And on the other side, let's put Noach, and we know that his wife was Naamah.
Hold
Naamah, she was from the dynasty of Cain. And Noach was from the dynasty of Seth. Now, I want to ask all of us, how many kids Adam and Eve had?
3.
3 kids. Who are the 3?
Cain and
Abel,
Abel.
Cain and Seth.
Excellent. Who said it? Harish?
Yeah.
Very good. It's good to see that you're also concentrating in the time zone that you have now. It's very late at night. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I
Great.
thought it was 7.
No,
With
Adam, no, there are 7 generations to Cain dynasty, but there are 3 sons to Adam and Eve. The
And
3
those-
that we have is Cain. The second one is Abel, and the third one is Seth. Right? He had 3 kids.
Okay.
How many kids Noah had?
3.
He also had 3.
He also had 3. Who are the 3 that he had?
Ham, Sham, Japheth.
Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Okay? So let's go to the Hebrew language, not discuss the, I'll say, the imitation of the names. Okay? So we have Shem. Shem is very close. Dan, can you write it down so people will see it? Seth and Shem is the same wording with a difference of 1 letter. Okay?
Can't see it. Share it, please.
Shem and Seth are the same word with a difference of a letter, and those 2 names are saying that this is a foundation. You must have it. Okay? Those 2 dynasties are going to represent God in this world, the moral side, the connection with God, the connection with the Almighty, the connection with the God who created this world. Those dynasties are responsible for that. It started with Seth, and it's continuing with Shem. Okay? Now there is a verse, very interesting verse. I need to find it for a moment. Let me find it in a second. Okay? And this one again.
Rabbi Ham, while you're looking for it, Dan, I don't see the screen. Yeah. And the chat is disabled, please.
No. Go back. Dan, stay with your screen. Okay, I will stop the share. Stay with your screen. Okay? But I need to go for a moment to I want to find the verse. This is something that I didn't prepare. I'm sorry. There is a very interesting verse that we have in, how do you say it in English? Mishlei. Mishlei is a...
Proverbs?
Proverbs.
How do you say it?
Proverbs.
Proverbs. Yes, exactly. Okay. So let's go to it's in Ktuvim. Proverbs. Where is it? Proverbs. Yes, exactly. Let's go. It's the last chapter. I don't know if you saw. In the Hebrew tradition, we are singing this last chapter every. We're singing this chapter every Friday night for our wives. Okay, it starts with a woman that is a very smart woman and everything else. It is continuing on 22 verses, very, very nice verses. I will share the screen for a moment, and then we will go back. Okay, I will share the screen for a moment so you will see it. We need to learn it once. It's a very, very, very unique song. It starts here. Okay, a woman of a favor who can find for a price is beyond pearls. And it says here a lot of good things. And we're singing every Friday night. We're singing to our wives this song. This is
beautiful.
One. It's a beautiful wedding. You are more than invited. It's the last verses of Psalms of
Proverbs.
Proverbs, yes. And one of the things here, okay, please read verse number 30.
Charm is false and beauty is futile. A God-fearing woman is to be praised. Give
Okay,
her
so-
the fruit of her hands, and her deeds will praise her in the gates.
Okay, but here it says, okay, that it's very important to be God-fearing or God-fearing woman, okay? She's to be prized. But what is charm? Charms is false, and beauty is
Futile.
Okay, so what it says here in Hebrew, it says that the beauty, chen, is beauty. The yofi is beauty. Yofi is beauty. Is just hevel. What is hevel? Is futile. But I can see here that hevel, is just like Yefet, Yofi. You with me? We said the second son of Adam and Eve is Abel. It's written down here, you see? And the second son of Noach and his wife is Yefet, Yofi, beauty. So it's the same thing. So Shet and Seth is the same thing. Abel and Japhet, Yofi, is the same thing. And we stayed with Cain and Ham, that also the same similarity, are the same thing. You with me? Please show the names again, Hamdan. I will close the share and show the names. Okay, so we have in each one of them is starting a new world, and each one of them have 3 kids. One of the kids is the foundation, Shem or Seth. The other kid is in the middle, okay? Something in the middle. It's like the beauty, it's like the Abel. We explained that it's needless. It's something that you don't know how to use it, and you can use it for good and you can use it for bad. And the other one is something that could be very in this world and very far from God, and it's trying only to have a lot of, I will say, reorganizing and catching to himself a lot of materialism and forgetting God.
Wow.
This is Cain, and this is also, after that will be Ham. Okay? When you're studying the world again, it's on the same level. It's on the same level. It's studying, it's recopying or restarting from the beginning. This is what's happening with Noach. It's just the same that happened with Adam and Eve. The question is if this world will manage to become to a better world. Now the answer is yes, as we see that we never have a flood again, or God didn't wipe off all the humanity again. He promised that he won't do it, and he said that it will manage, but he didn't manage with Noach. For that we need to have Abraham, and this is something that we will explain after we will see the flood. But we need to understand that the structure of the world is being built up with 2 main foundations, and one in the middle that could be in this side or in that side. One foundation is the connection with God, Shem or Seth. One foundation is those who are with the materialism. It starts with Cain, but it will continue on with Ham. And the intermediate one, that it starts with Abel, what we said, the needless in Hebrew, and it's continuing with the Yefet. Yefet is beauty. The beauty side could be very in the bad side, only in the side of the materialism. or it could be for the good side. Okay, what it says in this verse that we quoted is that it's not that it's saying that it's not that it's saying that charms is false and beauty is futile. It is false and futile only if it's without any God fearing. But if you have God fearing, so it's very important also to have charm and to have beauty. We need to read the verse in the right way. This is how the Hebrew people are reading this verse. Nobody is saying that charm and beauty is not good. Charm and beauty is good, but only if it's related to the Seth side, okay? With the God's fearing. But if it's not related to them, so it's related to what? So it's becoming something like an unbehavior way of life. Okay?
Unseemly.
The world, I will give an example. Be careful because it's going to be a very interesting example. Not politically correct example. The world is very sad today because in the last 24 hours we've learned that James Bond died. 91 years old, he died. Very nice. Now, let me ask you, he was a very nice gentleman, and I think that his main movie was The Rose, not the Bond. What he left us with this James Bond. I'm saying, I know those movies, and it's a very nice movie, but especially in his times also, what exactly did he left us in this world? He left us movies that the charms and beauty is not related to any God-fearing, and it's much more like using a woman in obstacle. Now, in his days, in the early 60s, in the beginning 70s, this was, I will say, the mindset, how to look at the relationship between men and women. Okay? Today, go to even to Walt Disney with all of the new movies that he's taking out. Okay? Not him, because he already died, but all of his continuous people that are taking movies to show how the woman should stood up for herself and not to be the only an obstacle for the people. This is exactly what is written down in this verse. What's written down here is that charm is false and beauty is futile when it is not connected to the God-fearing. But if it is related to the God-fearing, so it's not false and it's not futile. It's very important. But this is something in the middle. It is not something that you know exactly where to put it, because it could be very false and it could be very good.
Wow.
And this is a copy, right? Okay. It starts with Adam and his 3 sons. And we saw that Abel was wiped off in the beginning, and it's continuing on with Noah and his kids. Questions till now. Just that we will understand here in this situation.
Rabbi, let's face it, there are a lot of things in this world that of themselves are amoral. They're not one way or another, and it comes down to how we utilize it. And in the West here in the United States, I mean, gun control is considered to be a big debate. And let's face it, people are afraid that it could be used incorrectly, but used properly, especially if you go back over the last few hundred years. It was used for survival. It was used to hunt. You couldn't live without one unless you're going right back to bow and arrow. I mean, realistically, there's many, many, many items that are amoral. They could be used for bad. They could be used for good. But is that the point you're trying to get across with
exactly. You're saying exactly. We have, I will say, the dynasty that is related with moral and God. This is a dynasty of Seth, and dynasty after that of Shem. And we have a dynasty that is related mainly with a lot of, gathering a lot of money and a lot of materialistic side. And we have a lot of things and very far from God, this dynasty. And we have a lot of things that are in the middle, intermediate. You can use them for bad and you can use them for good. One of the most, I will say, known thing is, for example, the sexual side. Well, the sexual side could be very pure and very in a moral way and sanctified, like we do in the Hebrew. The Hebrew people are saying all the time and trying to do this in one of the most amazing thing along history with the family. And it could be also, I don't need to say this, okay? You can go on the internet and to see for yourself, okay? Each one of you, how come it could be very, very in a low level of like just like the animals and even lower than that. And this is one of the things, and this is what King Solomon is saying in this verse. And this is exactly the three, I will say, sons that we have, three kids that we have from Adam, and also after that from Noah. One is very connected with God, God-fearing. The other one is very connected to the materialist side. And he's also the one in the middle. And what God is asking us to do is that the dynasty that is related with the God-fearing will teach the rest of the world how to move to the moral side. Everything is clear? You're very quiet, all of you today.
Well, I'm here, Rabbi, and I'm never quiet.
Okay.
Tell me if I have this right. Tell me if I have this right. Seth and Shem, God is connecting them with the Hebrews. Is there a connection there?
Yes, later on, the dynasty of Shem will be the Hebrew people. Yes, you're right.
Okay. Oh, I got
okay, later on, exactly. The Hebrew people will be the dynasty of Shem. And Seth and Shem, exactly. And we see that in the Kuzari book, he's explaining this in a very, remember the book from last time, he's explaining this in a very straight way. He's showing this in a very right way. And we need to learn from the Kuzari. This is also the time for me to say something very important, because every time I said, I will try to give you a book. Okay, so done. Now this is the time for you for 10 seconds, 15 seconds to show what you showed me, the symbolize of the Noahide World Center. Give it for 10 seconds so everybody will see it, and then I will show a book, okay?
Which one, Rabbi?
The one that you showed me on Friday, last Friday.
Woo. Okay, let me just open up here. I got so much on my computer.
Show this to all of the people for 15 seconds, sorry, and then I will explain here a very important book. I will speak about a very important book.
Hold on. Open with. I got so much on the go. You just hit repeat. Yeah, so we're aiming for this celebration coming up on the 15th of November. We're really going for large. I've got so much done on this so far, but it's going to be a real hot look. I don't want to give it all out of the bag, but we're planning on lots, Rabbi. So it's going to be exciting, folks. The 15th of November, we're going to have a 27th of Cheshvan event, which is the day that Noah and the animals came out of the ark, and based on the Hebrew calendar. So we're going to celebrate it as Noahites. And I'm going to show a whole bundle of evidence that validates a global flood, the complete global flood. I'm going to have a few rabbis step in and share some points. It's going to be great.
Yes, thank you very much, Dan. And we'll say this again at the end of this lesson. And I want to speak about a very important book. And I'm going to give here a lot of things. So the name of the person who wrote this book is Eliyahu ben Amoseg, Rabbi Eliyahu ben Amoseg. He lived in the 18th century. He died in the 19th century. And he was a very, very big rabbi who knew a lot of things. And he was also part of the dynasty what we call the Mekubalim, who knew also the inside of the Judaism. And he had a very interesting student. His name was Emir Falier. I will speak about him next time, not this time, or another few times. And this student asked him that he will be his rabbi as a Noachite. So he is a Noachite, Emir Falier is a Noachite, and he asked Eliyahu ben Amozek, Rabbi Eliyahu ben Amozek, to become the rabbi of the Noachite. And Rabbi Eliyahu ben Amozek accepted this. And you can find it here under Wikipedia, a lot of things about him. And he wrote very important 2 books, but I will show this, okay? First of all, I will show this book. This book is Israel and Humanity. It's a very big book. It's a very long one.
Wow.
It's a very important one. A very, very important one. Here, I'm giving here. Also, you can see, you can find it on Amazon. It's not very expensive. I'm not getting any commission by selling this. Okay. And he wrote this book. One of the things that he is saying in this book, he's quoting a lot of knowledgeable people, smart people not from the Jewish nation. And one of the things that he is saying, that we need to remember that the Hebrew nation is very unique, because we're saying always that all of the humanity came from one person. Now, there's something also, I didn't went inside too much to this subject when we learned it, but in the Hebrew tradition, we are not saying that God created men and then he took out from him something and created woman. No. God created men and women back to back. You with me? Created men and women back to back. So on one side you saw men, on the other side you saw a woman. And what God did, he went and he took them to sleep, and then he separated both of them. And since then, in the Hebrew tradition, man is searching for something that he lost. And man is supposed to find his woman that he lost in Eden, up there in Eden. This is what he is looking for. And the only nation who said that everything started with one person, and also when we're speaking about the second step of the humanity, when Noah started, it all starts with one family. So he's writing this down in this book. And this is a very important book. I'm urging you to buy this book. Again, I'm not getting any, maybe it's a mistake of mine, because I can send you a link that I will get a bit of commission. No, never mind, go with this link. This is a very important book. And you can see it here, okay?
Yep, Israel and Humanity.
Yes, Israel and Humanity. And you have another very, very important book, okay? The name of the other book is Jewish and Christian Ethics. Jewish and Christian Ethics. Those are you have more. He has another something like 8 books. But those are the most 2 important books that if you really want to learn a bit more and to go to the step, I'm saying this, of the mindset that from one side you're staying as a Noachite, and on the other side to understand the difference between, I will say, the Noachite and the Christian world. Those are the 2 books that I'm saying tonight. Go on it. Okay, so we spoke last time at the Kuzari. Now we're speaking about this. I know that my mission, part of my mission, is to rebuild a university on those books and to explain them more and to expose them and everything else. Believe me, I'm working on it. And hopefully we have a very big meeting this Wednesday, how to get more steps in the progress of this university for the Noachite. We will do this also, but it's taking us time. There is a very interesting, I would say, sentence in the Hebrew tradition that the imagination doesn't have fast steps like reality. Oh, sorry, I will say it in the right way. The reality doesn't have fast steps like the imagination.
Right.
Okay? So we have a lot of ideas, but in reality, it takes time. So I'm sorry, but this is it. I'm giving you here two new books, okay, for this week that are related also to the things that we've learned. And the rabbi that I spoke about is Rabbi Ben Amozek, and you can find them on the Amazon. I must tell you that this book, okay, Israel and Humanity, have something like it was written down in French, and it was translated to Italian, to Hebrew, to English, and I think also to Spanish. But the best, listen good to what I'm saying, the best reading and the best learning is through the English. Also, the French version is a very, very hard to understand. But the English version is the most best way of how to understand this book. So you all have a very big advantage, and I'm saying to all of you to read this. And I want to see now, please, if it's okay. Can you see now?
Yes, I see Rashi.
Okay. So it's very important for me also to read another very important Rashi. That God regretted that he had made the men upon the earth, and it's a very, very important Rashi. It's written down from here.
And he became grieved. This I wrote to refute the heretics. A Gentile asked Rabbi Joshua ben Korka, do you not admit that the Holy One, blessed be he, foresees the future? He, Rabbi Joshua, replied to him, yes, he retorted, but it is written, and he became grieved in his heart. He, Rabbi Joshua, replied, was a son ever born to you? Yes, he, the Gentile, replied. And what did you do? He, Rabbi Joshua, asked. He replied, I rejoiced and made everyone rejoice. But did you not know that he was destined to die? He asked. He, the Gentile, replied, at the same time of joy, joy at the time of mourning, mourning. He, Rabbi Joshua, said to him, so is it with the work of the Holy One, blessed be he, even though it was revealed before him that they would ultimately sin and he would destroy them, he did not refrain from creating them for the sake of the righteous men who were destined to arise from them. That's so key, Rabbi. He made us anyways.
Yeah. So it's from of course, from the Midrash Rabbah. And I want to say here two very important things. Point number one is that we need to remember that there is also time for everything. And it's written down also in other places in the Bible, especially, again, King Solomon is saying this. And there's a time for joy, there's a time for mourning, and we need to remember the timing. For example, in our days, that the Hebrew people came back to their homeland. And more than that, 50 years ago, the Hebrew people came back to the Bible places. And suddenly all of the world is starting to ask themselves, so maybe those Hebrew people who claimed for 2,000 years that they are not replaceable, and you can't say that God hated them. And as they said, they will return back, they are returning back. So they know how to read the Bible. Let's listen to them. And everybody is thinking back. And we need to be connected with the timing of what God is doing in this world. This is point number one I wanted to say. Point number two, I want to say that what is hidden down inside here is a very, very big question about, does God knows what's happening in this world or not? Because if he knows everything that is happening in this world, and he also knows the future, how come he's regretting now? He wasn't supposed to regret now. And what we need to understand, I will give two answers for what I'm going to say now. For one side, the verses are speaking in a way that we can understand.
Right.
Because God is not regretting, and he's not regretting, he's in a different dimension. He's not related to the dimension of the people. But we need to understand what's happening. So we're speaking about wordings that we will understand. And the second thing is that the knowledge of God is a different knowledge than us. And we need to remember that. I'm saying this in a very, in a nutshell, in a very fast way. We need to remember that the understanding of God or the knowledge of God is in a different level than us. When we know something, so it's it's closed issue. From the beginning to the end, we understand what's happening here. And this is it. You can't change it unless we're knowing something in the wrong way. So we don't know the truth. But when God knows things, it doesn't say that it's already on the same level that is forcing us that this is the way of thing, because God is also not in the level of time like us. And this is something that we cannot understand in our world, because each one of us is underneath the guidance of time. And God is in something else. So God is in a different sphere, in a different environment, in a different, I would say, way of thinking. Therefore, and this is what is hidden down inside here. That
Wow.
This guy is asking him, but God knew already that this is what will happen. And he's answering him in a way that we can understand from one side. On the other side, we need to understand that God is in a different level. And here we're just speaking in a way that we can understand how to live life. In the time, how it's written down here, in the time, at the time of joy, at the time of mourning.
Yeah.
This is the way how to live. This is the way that we are living. So the Bible is not saying what God is thinking or what everything is happening with God.
Contingency.
The Bible is trying to teach us how to live right in this world.
I think, Rabbi, that is so huge. We really cannot make the error of thinking something will provoke or alter God's foreknowledge. And I love the way the rabbis teach that all is foreknown, yet free will is given, and understanding the dichotomy that goes on in there, and coming to terms with what is beyond our human capability and accepting what is given. And the Torah is clearly given for guidance. And when I met you, Rabbi Goldberg, I had that God Over Time outreach for 9 years, and I just disbanded it because I'm working with you, more and getting closer and trying to understand. But even on my move out of Christianity, I tried to convey with knowledgeable Christian minds about the notion of where they confined God to moments of time, and they believed in somewhat a God of contingency. Well, if I do this, he'll do that. And if I do this, he'll do that. And if I do this, he'll do that. If I don't do this, this will happen. If I don't do this, that. And your mind gets plagued. And I think with the way you just punched it out, it was beautiful.
Okay, thank you very much. I will say something that will maybe explain this a bit. It's like asking about the light, the bulb, okay? The light that we have here in this room, okay? If I will close a bit of light, now you will see me less better, okay? Now, if I will ask all of you, is the light soured or the light is sweet? It's not related, Sour and sweet is related to the taste, and light and darkness is related to different sphere. And this is the same thing. To speak about God in the terminology that we have in our world, we are missing it. So we need to remember that the Bible is more trying to show us that how the way that we need to live, but it's not explaining about God, how he is living. And this is one of the biggest misunderstanding along history, that people took this book and tried to explain, now we understand who is God and exactly what he is, and how we can, I don't know how to say it, describe him and everything else. I think that I spoke too much for tonight. I have you now 20, 25 minutes. It's your stage. Please, people, feel comfortable. Ask what you want to ask. What I know to answer, I will answer. What not, I will try next time. Yes.
Rabbi,
Yes, Paul. Hi, good evening. Good to see you.
good to see you, Rabbi, as always. And I'm sure glad to be here. I just want to go over everything, make sure that I got this crystal clear. And I'm going to try to say it in simple words that everyone can understand. Apparently, Seth descendants were the nobles, and they were enlightened. They had the enlightenment, but their downfall was they turned their eyes to the daughters of Cain, and they left their duty, which was to enlighten the generations before the flood. Is this correct?
You're explaining exactly what we said. Exactly. Yes. You're saying it
Okay,
in a
well,
good
I
way.
want to make sure I got it right.
No, fair enough. So
So they got
I'm
the
not sure.
spark.
I'm not sure that I'm a good teacher, but you're a very good student.
I want to make sure they got the extra spark. And like I always say, that the Jewish people have the spark of Moshe. That's why I put my ear every time you speak, and I want to hear more, because there's something happening where I'm getting something from you that I need. So apparently, Seth descendants were these nobles that they say, but they turned their eyes to the beauty of the daughters of Cain, and they left their duty behind because their morality of the daughters of Cain were not on the level of the daughters of Seth. Now, after the flood, Shem, he had the same duty. He had the same enlightenment. He had the same mission in life. So us as the nations, for us to not to fall out, we must always put our ear to Shem, to the descendants of Shem, which are the Jewish people. Am I correct?
Yes, you're saying good, exactly the things that we spoke about, and you concluding those things in 2-3 sentences. You are nailing it.
Well, you know what, Baruch Hashem, I'm glad because I got it. I got the message clear, and that's what I wanted to make sure and clarify. That.
Thanks so much, Paul. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Well, thank you, Rabbi. I just wanted to make sure I had everything correct. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Okay, who else wants to speak? Samuel, just a moment. Samuel, can you open the camera for a moment? It's the first time I missed you today, but it's okay. I understand that it was too early. Where are you? Samuel. Good to see you. Good to see you. You're from Los Angeles, right? I'm right? I remember correctly?
No, I'm from Kentucky.
Kentucky. Okay. Not less. I'm saying again, I'm not jealous of the American people of this week. They have a very, very hard decision to do. Okay. God bless you. Yes, who wants to speak? I'm sorry. Yes, good to see you. Yes.
Rabbi, I have a question.
Yes, Anna, good to see you. Yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it is only the Hebrew peoples who's left of Shem's bloodline. Is there any nations? Is it only the Hebrew people?
I had interference when you spoke, so please say it again.
Yeah. Now I'm just wondering if it is only the Hebrew people left of the descendant of Shem. Is there any other nations that could be related to Shem?
There are other nations. Okay. There are other nations. For example, we can find inside the Ishmael. Ishmael is the Arabs. We can find the two groups that are very also in this way, also in this path, in some sort of ways. But mainly, the Hebrew nation took upon themselves to become the priest of the road. And the others are more maybe under the dynasty of Shem, but maybe for themselves, we'll say it like that.
Now, Rabbi, also, if I must say, I know that my lineage can be traced back to Gaither, the son of Aram, the son of, goes all the way back into the line of Shem. Some of my blood lineage. If people know the post-flood, how things began, I know that my lineage tracks back to the Ireland and Scotland and then the UK. But before that, it was Norman people from the Vikings, which were from the Visigoths, which were from the Goths, which in the east, which were from Gether, which is from Aram. And you can track this stuff back if you know your linguistics and how it actually branches. That is in the line of Shem, but not in the line of Eber or Ever. I also have some Japheth blood mixture because the original people from the UK, their original folks going back before were of the descendants of Japheth. Knowing how it all broke down, I think there's an intellectual explosion that's about ready to happen in the next short period where humanity is going to see that the Hebrew people, it's not just them, it's the Torah. The words that Hashem gave to Moses are correct on such a level that academia is just trying to hide their eyes from. They just, so I think humanity is going to come to full grips inevitably, but we're in uncertain times to a degree.
Okay, Dan, thank you very much. It's interesting to know that you're managing to track off this dynasty, even though, again, as you said, the only Hebrew people of Eber is the Jewish people. Who else? People speak tonight. You're so shy tonight. Very nice.
Rabbi?
Yes, Harish, yes.
Yeah, I last time I had asked you about whether Noahites can convert to Judaism, and you said yes if they wish to. My question is, somewhere I was reading about conversion, and somebody wrote that if everyone in the world converted to Judaism, who will the Jewish people be light for? Like, I think it's written that Jewish people are supposed to be light unto the nations. So, I mean, that person somehow wanted to discourage others from embracing Judaism, or maybe just wanted to make some point. I don't know. So, what are your thoughts on this?
And I will say that it's interesting that from time to time this question is raising up, and I will say my ideas or what, we in the Noahide World Center are saying all the time. There is a mission to everyone. Everyone needs to know his mission. And when we were souls up in the heaven, and God called us and said to us, this is your time to go to this world and to do something. So one of the questions that God asked us, he asked us, do you want to be a male or a female? Do you want to be in this family or in this family? And one of the questions that he asked us, do you want to be a Jewish, a Hebrew person, or do you want to be a Gentile? And we decided to become or a Hebrew person or a Gentile. Now there are things that we have the possibility of doing as a Hebrew people, but there are things that we are limited. We are limited. Now my parents are sitting here in this classroom, and every time it's good to see them and to speak with them and everything else. Hi, good evening, my mother and father. And they worked for more than 30 years with people who did conversions. They taught them, they joined them to the court, and they helped them to become from Gentile to Jewish people. I did it 30 years ago, a very short time. And I've decided that it's much more appropriate that those who were born as Gentiles, as people from all over the world, again, I'm saying, you will manage to do things much better than me in your country, in your environment. Okay?
Amen.
Never in my life, Harish, I won't be able to go to the people in India, in Mumbai, where you live, and to speak with the people in your language, because I'm not in this culture. I wasn't grown up in this culture. So for me, it will be always secondary, and I will be for those people, I will be some sort of a stranger, you won't be a stranger. So if you will become a Noachite, a proud Noachite that is not trying to cross the lines and to become a Jewish person, you will be able to influence people in your area, in your country, to bring the world to a better world, much better than me. So the relationship between the Jewish people and the Noahide people needs to stay in this level. So if someone have a very big ambitions to become a Jewish person, we're not stopping him. But the truth is that the best that people are supposed to be Noahide and to have connection with the Hebrew people. And this is the way that you will bring the world to a better world. And you will be surprised, the only culture that is not trying to force others to become like them is the Rabbi Eliyahu ben Amozeg that I spoke before. In this specific book, he is saying, he have 2 chapters about it, that he is showing that not like the Christian world, that is saying everybody is supposed to be Christian and to believe in Jesus. Not like the Arab world, okay, that is saying that everybody is supposed to become a Muslim. The Hebrew people are saying that we have 4 levels. We have the Kohanim, we have the Levitics, we have the Israelim, and we have the Noachites. And we are not asking people to become Jewish people, because we don't believe that everybody is supposed to become a Jewish person. Okay? If your destiny, you will manage to be closer to God and to become part of, the relationship with God, if you will be a very good Noachite. Now, again, if you still have very big ambitions after that to become a Jewish person, we won't stop you. I will refer you to those people who are doing, those courts and all of these things. And it's a very hard one. It's a very long way of 3 years, and you need to know that it's crossing the lines. So you won't be able to live among the people that you grew with and to be part of them. If you will decide to become, to stay a Noachite, I think that this is the main mission that you took upon yourself when you were a soul, and you will manage to bring the world to a better world more than just becoming a Jewish person. So this is the main thing that we believe. By the way, again, what I did now, I quoted 2 chapters from the Rabbi Eliyahu ben Amozeg that I referred today that you will go and see. And he's explaining this in a very nice way. So if a Muslim will start to ask himself, why, how come suddenly some sort of an esoteric books everybody is looking for, I'm to be blamed. It's okay. Okay, Arish?
Okay.
I answered you. But we're not
Yeah,
pushing
thank-
anybody to become a Jewish person.
Rabbi,
Yes, Timothy.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, if I'm from the destiny of Japheth, does that mean it's harder for me to get closer to God?
No, today we don't exactly know. We don't know exactly, okay? Even if you will say that you're from the destiny of Japheth, you don't know exactly because it's so far from them. We're speaking about almost 4,000 years, okay, from this flood. So we don't know. Therefore, we're going under, I will say, the assumption, and especially we need to understand another thing. So we're going under the assumption that this is the time that the Hebrew people came back to their homeland, and especially from the time that they came back to Jerusalem. This is the time that God is with more presence here in this world, and more spirituality is in this world, and people can do that. And you don't need to ask me. You can look around and you will see that the spiritual path is much more in this world today, and people are asking more questions, and people suddenly are dreaming more dreams about being connected with the Hebrew people. And it's a wave, it's a move that is running in this world, and everybody have the opportunity and the possibility to be connected with God through this connection with the Hebrew people. It's equal for everybody. It's only the ambition that you want to put inside.
Wow. So it comes down to potential. And most people you know, we live in such a day and age where more seems to be better, but it's not. It's not. Sometimes it's an addition to something that is not necessary, and it actually can be an imperfection to add something beyond. And this is one thing we learned about the Hebrew scriptures. Never add, don't do it, don't add more than you need to. I love how you just mentioned, Rabbi, you have the Kohanim, you have the Levites, you have the Jewish people, and the Noahide. And the reality is not that one's less than another. It's designed for a different purpose. And Hashem is clearly called the nation of Israel to be a kingdom of priests. And the rest of the nations are who the priests are there to serve with that spiritual guidance. So you've made it very clear today, Rabbi.
I will give an example that Dan, you and me spoke once, I think 2 years ago already. We said it like that. We said that there are all sorts of ways to have license. You have a license for a motorcycle.
Right.
You have a license for a car. You have a license
and then a
for
truck, yeah, big rig,
you have a license
bus.
for an airplane. Also
Yes.
on the airplane, you have license for small airplanes and there's license for a big jet, big jumbo. Now, go for example and ask, is someone here is a better person than the other one? No, but they have different roles. And
Different
it's
license,
not the
yeah.
same to drive, I will say, a motorcycle, or to drive or to fly an airplane. And to fly an airplane, you need to have more preparations. And you're taking, a flight a few hours, and then you need to have a few days of rest. And but you have more responsibility and more things to check up and more things to do. So
Like an astronaut.
there are few ways, but no one here is because of that is a better person or a less better person.
Exactly.
And this is one of the examples that we said with these levels that we have in this world.
That's
and we need to know that. We need to
You
know
wouldn't
that
want an
everybody-
inexperienced person captaining a big ship, imagining a big ship and it was captained by a bad person, or imagine an astronaut, a rocket ship. I wouldn't want to get up in one of those things and blast off. I definitely, it would be a disastrous mission if I tried to, be an astronaut or even fly a plane or a helicopter. Totally different things, but it doesn't mean that anybody's less. If you ride a motorcycle, you can get somewhere just as fast and sometimes faster than somebody in a car. Car might be safer, but Hashem's doing a wonderful work. I appreciate you clarifying. Rabbi, we're about 20 after the hour. I don't know how long do you want to keep going. Any more questions? Are you taking more?
No, one last question and that's it. Yes, if there is. If not, it's okay.
Question. I have a question.
Yes.
Is it-
okay. Lalaine, just a moment. What is the time by you now?
It's around 3
In the morning.
a.m. in the morning.
Thank you very much for staying awake with us. I really appreciate that. Yes, okay. And she's speaking clear. You see, she's speaking clear even though it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Yes, continue on.
I want to ask if it's true that Noahides are reincarnations of Jews before, like you are reincarnated to Gentile because we did something in previous life that made us being not worthy to become Jews anymore.
I will tell you, I will answer like that, okay? I'm not God. I'm not his deputy. I don't know. I don't know to answer that, okay? And there are things in life that we need to, that you will stay always with the questions and you won't have the exact answer. I really don't know. There are things that are beyond, okay, our knowledge here in this world. We don't know exactly everything. Okay, we don't know the things that are related to our past time here in this world, and God did it in a purpose that we won't be able to be connected with things behind us. And I don't have answers for that. I don't think that anyone have answers. By the way, I will be more precise. Okay, we have here in Israel. You can name it, in 2, 3, 5 people maybe, that from time to time, they're saying things and it is true. They know exactly to tell that in your previous life, you did this and you did that. But, there are 1 or 2 or 3 like that, and they're not speaking too much. only from time to time they're saying things, but we don't know. I don't know to answer that. I really don't know. So we need to say thank you for God that in our days today, we are able to have this connection, especially because of the technology from one side and also the opportunity that the Hebrew nation came back to Jerusalem. And we have this spiritual opportunity, awakeness, okay, that we all have in this world. And this is a way that we can all have more relationship and more connection with God. And it's already written down in Isaiah, what we call, in chapter 16.
Isaiah.
Yes, that there are people that are getting related to the Hebrew nation and related to God. And those are the Noahide people also. Thank you very, very much, everybody, for being with us. And two things. First of all, next week, hopefully, again, on the same level, and you can bring friends and everything else. And I will send also links to remind us. We have on Wednesday, I know that it's in the middle of the day, so those who are still working, I will send also again the link. And we have the class that Sarah is giving with the Shmirat HaLashon, what we call. And we have another 2 weeks from now, we have a very big celebration of the Noah going out from the ark. This is the day that Noah went out from the ark. And not only we're going to publish all the time Zoom, we're going to have a very long classes about things. And one of the things that we're going to do also, that we're going to pick up a lechaim. You know what lechaim is, everybody? We're going to have some sort of a drink that all of us will have. And
celebration.
Celebration for having this day of the Noahide. I know I'm not going to do a competition with the England people here, Angela and Mike, about drinking. I'm not so, it's not my favorite, but I know that the people who knows how to drink more better than me. But we will do some sort of a celebration of going out from the ark. So we will publish those hours and everything else. And have a wonderful week. See you next week.
So Hashem willing, Rabbi, we're on the same time next week, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right, folks, we're going to sign out. Thank you so much, Rabbi Chaim Goldberg from Jerusalem. Always a joy to be with everybody in the Zoom room from around the world. Till next week, have a great day, folks.